Welcome to Beyond the Press Release, a production of Agoracom, in which we take the time to speak with small cap executives after they put out important news. With us today for the first interview of 2022, David LAVCE, CEO of Liquid Avatar Technologies, trades in Canada under LQID, and for our friends in the US under LQAVF. Look, for those of you new to the story, and even for those of you who've been, the OGs have been around now for a while following company, this is going to be one hell of a fun interview because this is a classic tech success story where a company starts off small, specialized, niche, not a lot of attention on it, and all of a sudden it's taking this technology and extrapolating and doing fantastic things. Right? So here's what you need to know: the genesis of Liquid Avatar, and then how that seed sprung into just a great natural path is what I think I need to do here in the introduction before we start talking to David. But the genesis is Liquid Avatar is a global blockchain and personal identity company. All right. So what the core of the company is empowering individuals to manage, control, and generate value from their biometrically verified digital identities, while also providing businesses and governments the ability to integrate that kind of technology through digital wallets, for example, and digital identity solutions in order to create new business models and new engagement structures at the end of the day. But as the digital universe has continued to expand, there's an ever increasing need to verify online identity. So when David came to me a couple of years ago, the whole idea of digital identity, digital privacy was great, something that was going to be really great in the future. But even I couldn't see at the time. Now you had two major shifts that happened in 2021. Google announced a major shift away from precision targeting ads based on everything you do on the internet. And then the Ontario government, which is very, very relevant here, they announced they released their digital strategy, their digital identity strategy, which was essentially to launch digital ID credentials. And from that, all of us could manage our driver's licenses, vaccinations, all those kind of things, right? So suddenly, Liquid Avatar was at the forefront of everything. They created their LAVCE, the Liquid Avatar Verifiable Credential Ecosystem, which led to success. I'm going to read the headline. They partnered with the Ontario Convenience Store Association to provide digital age verification to over 8,000 stores. So if the story ended there, it would have been a fantastic year for Liquid Avatar. But then we got the evolution pretty quick from Web 2.0 to Web 3, which is what we call the Metaverse. It's already a $30 billion market. We saw that, but we think that's going to go way higher. Facebook is now Meta, as we all know, and they're going to build around the Metaverse. Bloomberg Intelligence believes the Metaverse can reach $800 billion by 2024. And Roundhill Investments had a quote here that's very, very relevant to Liquid Avatar, where they said, "We believe more virtual platforms will emerge. It's not just going to be Facebook. It's not just going to be Meta." And they say new virtual platforms will emerge and they'll likely exceed today's leaders. Well, Liquid Avatar's Aftermath Islands Metaverse is already a screaming success. The company announced today in its update, I'm just going to take a small excerpt, preliminary gross revenues of approximately $1 million just for the quarter from October 1st to December 31st. So that's the loose genesis, that's the loose path, but it's unbelievable how Liquid Avatar started from this digital identity seed and has grown that seed into a full blown out tech stack and business. And David, let's talk about welcome back, my friend.
Wow. Thanks, George.
It's
great
much
to be here, and Happy New Year to everyone, and wishing everyone a very happy, healthy, prosperous, and safe 2022.
Happy New Year to you, your family, and the Liquid Avatar family. How unbelievable, let's refer to my intro there, like you said, wow. How unbelievable was 2021 for Liquid Avatar? Did it even surpass your expectations? Because yes, I know that you saw the future coming with digital identity, but did you see this much evolve this fast from January 1, 2021, to December 31st, 2021? It seems like an incredible ride.
No, the simple answer is no. I mean, you hope for the best, and then you really have to work a plan. And for us, it was very simple. We knew that digital identity was at its core going to be one of the major impetus for Web 3.0. It had to be, and so we saw all the Web 3.0 things starting to happen, and what was happening in the cryptocurrency industry around NFTs, and how avatars could be part of the NFT offering. And we saw Bored Apes, Cyberpunks. We've seen everything come about, but we really focus at its our core as digital identity, because without digital identity, really no one is anyone online. So if we start at that center core, um, it's sort of like a golf ball. You've got your center core, and then you've got, so used to be you had your windings around that. Now it's a different element, and then that would be our avatars, and around that, the covering or the coating would be the metaverse. So we hope that this would happen, but when Mark Zuckerberg and Meta made their announcement, we really had to turn on the jets, because we were originally planning to have our metaverse product start to launch in 2022. And so we had to throw the song sheet literally out the window and just start moving quickly.
But the
And
good news is you didn't turn on the jets. You guys were already at cruising speed, and then you just turned. Whereas
the
versus
afterburners,
versus everyone else
went on. Yeah,
started from scratch and said, "Holy
no,
moly, Facebook's doing this
no,
to get in the game."
yeah,
You were already ahead of it. In fairness to you, though, even though it happened way faster than you saw it, you saw all this happening
yeah,
from digital identity.
yeah,
You've said it for a couple of years now, right?
yeah.
Explain to people at home in layman's terms what they should know about how digital identity is going to impact their lives in 2022, and how it's just not going to go back. It's not going
Well,
back.
well, sort of foreshadowing some things to come. You're going to be able to use your avatar to sign on to websites, and your avatar would be powered by your digital identity. And that really crushes, in my humble opinion, the dark web and hacking, because if you're connecting your avatar to a biometric version of yourself, it's no longer two-factor authentication by using a little code that somebody sends you. Your multi-factor authentication is now your biometrics. So we're going to see a digital identity be used to sign into websites. We're going to see digital identity used to assure that you are who you say you are, creating high levels of assurance for travel, e-commerce, health and government issues, uh, opportunities on the metaverse. Like, I don't want in our metaverse, and I don't think anyone else does, bad actors. How do you prevent bad actors? By proving everyone who they say they are. And Web 3.0 gives that opportunity. There is something coming down the pike, which we're already actively involved in. The Ontario government expected something called DIDCOM, decentralized identifiers and communication. Well, you know, that might replace your phone number in the way that you communicate with others, because everybody would have a DID, a decentralized identifier by your personal and digital identity. So that, George, I'd like to say you heard it here first, but we talked about digital identity, we talked about avatars, and we talked about the semblance of the
Absolutely.
metaverse.
You're not a bandwagoner Johnny come lately. You were way
Yeah,
ahead of this.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So we've been talking about this for some time. So we're very excited about where we are.
And sorry, by the way, I think my camera's frozen up, but that as long as we can see you and your facial expression, I think that's the most important thing for now.
No problem.
And more than just lip service, right? More than just, all right, some cool tech and great ideas. You announce, and I'm going to read the full quote. As a result, Liquid Avatar Technologies has seen an earlier than anticipated rise in commercial activities, which generated preliminary gross revenue of approximately $1 million in
Right.
this quarter. How happy are you? But more importantly, what's a signal that sends to your shareholders? And where did most of that revenue come from? But what's a signal that it sends to your shareholders?
Well, I think first of all, being happy. We're thrilled that we did that, but that's yesterday's news, right? What are we going to do today? And so what it did is it gave us the confidence to move to the next stage. And right now, we're getting ready to launch the next version of our islands. We're getting ready to start putting our game tech development together. For those that bought in 2021 and bought on a couple of our islands where we were giving away dragon eggs and dinosaur eggs, we delivered those yesterday. So we now have an automated process for the delivery of our NFTs. We're looking at new ways to create.
So those were drops. You guys were dropping those on owners of parcels and land on Aftermath Islands.
Yeah. So everybody got everything that they're entitled to. So we're on pace now to create new islands and start developing our games and our applications that we're hoping to have ready for mid-year. We're also and again, this is very standard. Aftermath Islands is starting to look at a potential token offering. People have been talking about it for months. We talked about it at the beginning. Aftermath Islands is a blockchain based platform, and so we will have some type of token offering to support the in-game currency and support our NFTs. So that's starting to bubble up. We're
and explain for a second if you can there, because not a lot of people are familiar with token offerings, and we're not going to give them a PhD in it either here.
Right.
60 seconds, but just quickly, what is a token offering? What can I do with it? Just give everyone at home a little more run through on that.
Sure. And again, I don't want to divulge too much at this point in time because it's still very early days. But if you look at Decentraland, and if you which uses Mana, and if you look at the Sandbox, which uses Sand, their in-game currency is currently valued at over $5 billion. If you play any type of game where there is rewards, whether it's Candy Crush or World of Warcraft, there's always an in-game currency, and our token will be an in-game currency, and that in-game currency will allow you to do things in our platform that it'll allow you to use it similar to fiat. It'll allow you to mine and receive credits and other opportunities. So a token allows the platform to be used in many different ways and is part of the construct. A token offering allows organizations and individuals to purchase those credits, but again, it's an in-game currency, so it is a utilitarian.
So the NFTs are the assets, which is the land, eggs. So those
they're supported by the token.
Token is the currency where you can then start to transact and do stuff, not just own. All right, so that's exciting. Ballpark ET.
Oh, really exciting. I mean, it's only a small part. I mean, there's so much on the go now. What makes us uniquely different the Aftermath Islands metaverse from other metaverses is that there is really a story in behind it. And for our stakeholders and our shareholders, I mean, I believe we're one of only a few globally, but one of just maybe at most a couple or three in Canada that has its own metaverse. I mean, this is a huge endeavor by our company, and it's supported by all the technology that we've already built. So we're not starting from scratch. We've got a lot of the technology that we need to make this happen is built, and we have some great partnerships. I mean, when you start thinking about the metaverse, you start thinking about augmented reality and virtual reality, and really in the long term, metaverses will be VR, not AR, for the most part, because you're going to be creating a new virtual world where and the real difference between AR and VR is that with AR you're embedding virtual items in a real world, and you're using the camera on let's say a phone to determine where those items are. Like a monster shows up in your backyard. Well, that monster is an augmented reality item that shows up in your backyard of a real world, and your camera places that camera and some technology sensors determine where that monster should be in spatial design, and where VR is all about taking yourself and embedding yourself into that.
It's almost the complete opposite.
It's a complete opposite, exactly, and it's the other side of that coin, and it uses your eyes and your senses rather than a camera to deal with that. And so far, we're looking at licensing technology to do that. What we want to do is most of this, if not all of it, on our own. So what's really cool about
Do you
our
need to though?
metaverse.
Do you need to though, David, or is that more pick and shovels kind of technology where you just incorporate other people's VR?
Well, that's it. But we want to do it under license. We have no immediate plans to have any partners or any type of revenue share at this time. That might change. So we're very fortunate at this point in time. Our 100% owned subsidiary, OCSA Digital Studios, which is our NFT division and sort of a metaverse division, owns 50% of Aftermath Islands, and we do. We're already working with companies like Imagine AR on our augmented reality, but that will probably be mobile. If we haven't done any plans for our metaverse applications yet for that, and that's a license we have with Imagine AR, and we're very, very happy with the team. But we're really focused on maximizing our value for our shareholders. All about what we're doing for our shareholders.
Well, on that note, you just said a minute ago. So you own 50% of Aftermath Islands now. I guess because you guys fulfilled certain obligations, you hit certain milestones.
Yeah.
Are you able, as investor, balance sheet, are you able to put a valuation on that, especially now that Aftermath Islands has sold, has done over $1 million in sales and gross revenue? Are you able to put some kind of valuation on that? Because if you own 50% of that entire metaverse, that's got to be something pretty meaningful.
George, I'd love to quote a number yet, but I think it's a bit early. I think the factors are really, we've only had a couple months. I know that everybody would like us to do that, and we'd love to be aptly promotional, but I think in good conscience and plain and truthful disclosure, I think it's going to take another month or two to get there. I think.
All right, that's fair enough.
And I think once we start just divulging a little bit more about what we're doing, but I will suffice it to say, we're seeing, and again, I'm not suggesting that it's normal, but we're seeing valuations of 80 times or more. There was one SPAC that's coming out in the US where I saw 700 times the revenue generated from their metaverse activities. So
I guess that's because they're just expecting super fast growth. That if you've got Aftermath Islands and you're already off and running, it's going to keep growing. So they're giving you a bigger valuation because they figure you're going to grow. You're going to grow into it. But look, you're completing. You're creating an entirely new ecosystem, right? How do you value that? So if we got to wait a couple months, then so be it. But the good news is for all Liquid Avatar shareholders is we've got Aftermath Islands. We own 50% of it, and it's not Georgeville, which is who cares? Nobody even knows it exists. Nobody goes. Nobody's interested. Aftermath Islands is off and running now. So
well, George, I just wanted to give you some insight at this. What's really different too about this is we didn't go after just the crypto bugs. Our platform allows people to use fiat to buy virtual land, and just
which I thought was genius, by the way.
Yeah, well, thank you. I mean, we've seen over 3,000 people with very little marketing today already purchase virtual land. 22% of purchasers are coming back for a second, third, fourth. We've got people who bought 10, 12, 18 times in it. So we're seeing repeat buying. We're seeing, we saw over 4,000 orders in our first couple of months. So these are not stats that are usual. These stats are usually built over a long period of time. I've been doing retail marketing for more years than I'd like to count, but at the end of the day, getting that kind of curve at the beginning is amazing. We estimated that our cap on purchasing would be somewhere maximum of $180 on the average order. We're in Canadian dollars, we're approaching $275. So it's been really amazing, the results
people love it
so far.
People love it. It's going right in.
Yeah, and people are coming back time and time again, and there's more islands, as I said, coming out, And we're hoping through the first quarter there's going to be a lot of open discussion about where we're going and what we're building. But again, fundamentally, this doesn't take us away from our core business of digital identity, because we're already, as you mentioned, doing the OCSA. We're looking at government opportunities. We're actively involved in the travel industry. We're looking at retail and e-commerce, and all of this coalesces. It all comes together. And our avatar programs, whether it's our Liquid Avatar Marketplace avatar programs or our MetaHero project avatars, which are interactive 3D avatars that can emulate your face and body style. All of this comes together in a single focus package. And again, I encourage everyone to think of the best one I could think is a baseball or golf ball. I usually like to say, candy, but I'll use that as where we're at its core, again, is digital identity. Around that is avatars, and around that is the metaverse. Okay. And we're also sorry, go ahead.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because I actually had this question on my screen before you started talking about it, which is, you start off a digital identity, then that went into the NFT world through OCSA, which then led to the metaverse through Aftermath Islands and MetaHero project. Where is it all one big focus, or are there parts of it that are a bigger focus than others? Because digital identity, going back to the core, you got the Ontario convenience store win. So I've got to figure that'll lead to other wins. So, that on its own, if you had nothing else, would be a fantastic. The metaverse, we've already talked about that with Aftermath and MetaHero, is hitting it out of the ballpark, right? And the NFTs with, the NFT services, let's call it, with OCSA Digital Studios, is obviously doing very well, because you announced some pretty high profile engagements there. Where should investors be focusing, or where do you want investors to be focusing on? Which one is really pulling the company along now?
Well, I think it's it's sort of like a symphony. If you took out the wind section or the violins, it wouldn't sound right. I think at the end of the day, as we, if I would have said to you again 2 years ago, we're going to focus on Web 3.0, again, you would have said, call me in 5 years. I think all three of those items play very well into Web 3.0, and Web 3.0 is now here and roaring. So I don't think it's one or the other. I think they all come together. I think, again, it is a symphony. And the fact, and what I want to say is, we're already, starting discussions, early stage discussions with other metaverses to how to interoperate with those metaverses and our avatars and our digital identity, because everybody wants the same thing. And
so you're not just talking about interoperability where you can go from Aftermath Islands to Georgeville. Are you also talking about Georgeville wants to incorporate your Liquid Avatar technology as a foundation for my users? So you're not just working together, but they may actually want to use our core technology to power. If I guess that's the best term to use. Do other metaverses want to use Liquid Avatar technology to power their metaverses?
Well, we're starting those discussions now, so we think that is a true statement. We have to think of ourselves first. To be candid, we still are a very small company, right? Although we believe our stock is extremely undervalued, that's our belief, and everybody needs to do their own due diligence. We're very careful how we're capitalizing, when we're capitalizing. I mean, we did a capital raise in the summer, and people were really I don't want to say they were happy or unhappy, but people really didn't understand the reasons for it. But then we launched our metaverse. I mean, it's evident we use that money to good use, and so we're being very careful how we look at capital strategies. But at the end of the day, we only can do so much with so much resources. And right now we're focused on what we can do internally first and externally second.
2022. I'm not going to ask you, because I'm not even sure if you know, but any doubt that 2022 is just going to dwarf 2021 in terms of how fast digital identity is going to move, how fast metaverse applications are going to move, and how happy are you or content are you with how Liquid Avatar is positioned for all of that? Because I'm sitting here thinking, you're perfectly positioned. Doesn't mean you're perfect. Doesn't mean you have other things that doesn't mean you have more development to come and more holes to fill. But it
Hmm.
seems like because you started off 3 years ago way ahead of everybody,
Hmm.
um, that's only magnified. Your leading position is only magnified today. How's 2022 looking? What do you think? What should investors expect?
Well, I'll say one more thing, which I know we were privy to it, and unfortunately we can't share it because it's an internal report for clients only. But Gartner, the big research firm, identified a whole bunch of people in the digital identity space, and we were one of the named individuals that they identified as. So I mean, you can't ask for more than that. So I think in 2021 we set our goals, and I believe we exceeded them dramatically. In 2022, we've already laid out the deck. So whether it's digital identity, avatars, the metaverse, and the nuances of our Passmate program, which is due to come online in sort of in around this quarter, which is the ability to use the payment rails to verify your identity. Pardon me. Sorry,
Bless you.
my apologies. Thank you. But so we can use. You would be able to walk into a shop and be able to verify your identity on a payment terminal, same as you do use a debit or credit card today. So that technology, we believe, is never been done before and unbelievable. And
Just
then
because people hear that for the first time. So if I'm walking into a restaurant and they need to know if I've been vaccinated, I can just use the payment terminals are going to be adapted to be able to swipe up my. Do I swipe a card? Do I show my QR code on
it
my
would be
phone?
it'd be a QR code presentation.
Right. Okay. So you use a QR code,
Yeah.
and that
Mhm.
system will
Yeah.
say this guy's good to go without giving away my name, without
No
giving
PII, no personally identifiable information. That's the whole key. Whole key behind digital identity is to be able to show who George is and verify who George is without George giving up any personal identifiable information. And we need that anyways for the Ontario Convenience Store Association, because we want to be able to prove age verification without having to give up your address or your birthday. So we're already at that stage. I mean, and then DIDCOM, using digital identifiers and communication to be able to do everything from transfer of data and messaging all the way up to payments. So there's so many things that are coming down the pike. Verified account sign-on using your biometrics rather than a username and password. So all of that is core to everything going on in the real world and everything going on in the virtual world. So we're blending the real world with Web 3.0, and we are so excited about being there. And this is nothing I've talked about is new here. This has all been on the board for the better part of 6 months to a year, and now we're very much focused on bringing everything to market, because the metaverse is sort of dragging us at lightning speed to bring everything into play, and we're excited about it.
Well, I've said it not just once, I've said 100 times. You were way ahead of the curve on all of this. I thought this stuff was all 2023, 2024
Yeah,
stuff. And
yeah,
here we are in 2021, and it just exploded, and it's not looking back. And I can't wait to see what you're going to be unveiling. Like, you've already given us a couple of tidbits with a potential token offering and things like that, just on Aftermath Islands, potentially working with others. Digital identity for me is still that core, that which is the one probably most people can relate to at home. Still, most people still can't relate to
right.
NFTs and metaverses, but
Yeah,
we can all relate to, why do I need to show my driver's license in order to buy something?
sure.
Especially if it's my daughter, right, where she can just use her QR code or liquid avatar to say, "Yep, she's able to buy alcohol." So you don't need to know it. So that for me is equally as exciting as the metaverse side. And I'm a bit of a geek, not like you, but I'm a bit of a geek, and I can't wait to see how each of these really transpire, man. Congratulations on what you did and
Thank
where
you.
you're going.
Thank you very much.
For everybody at home, you've been watching or you've been listening by podcast on Spotify, Google, Apple, your favorite podcast platform, to David Lukacs, CEO of Liquid Avatar Technologies, trades in Canada under LQID, trades in the US under LQAVF. To do your due diligence, get to Agoracom, go to the company's profile page, because man, if there's ever a company with a lot of fantastic moving parts, which on the one hand means explosive potential growth, on the other hand means brand new markets, technologies that are hard for people to understand, that's where we'll give you a nice overview. But then from there, you can click over to the Liquid Avatar website and do your deep dive due diligence. Because guys, if you believe in the future of Web3, which is blockchain, crypto, token, NFTs, if you believe in the future of the metaverse and where it's going, and why wouldn't you? Because Facebook's already told you they're changing the entire business to go that way. Then you've got to take a damn close look at Liquid Avatar Technologies, because they're the leading small cap company giving you access and the ability to be able to participate in all this. And hopefully today you discovered your next great small cap Web3 company. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day. See you next time.
Hey guys, this video is over, but don't forget to help your company by liking it and even leaving a comment below. And then don't forget to help yourself by subscribing to our channel and never missing another great Agoracom small cap video.